Good evening, everybody. Happy February. Happy early Valentine's Day. My name is Lee Simpson, and I am from King Harvest, King Harvest Wellness. And tonight we're doing a brief live event just to talk about CBD, epilepsy, and seizures. Seizure disorders affect more than 25 million Americans. They are go ahead and go out. Sorry, everybody. So epilepsy is a neurological disorder marked by a sudden recurrent episode of sensory disturbance and loss of consciousness or convulsions that we all know as a seizure. It's associated with or caused by abnormal electrical activity in the brain. So seizure disorders, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, many other neurological disorders are a matter of abnormal electrical activity in the brain. So seizure disorders are diagnosed with different things and in different manners, oftentimes with the onset of symptoms and in the way that the diagnosis is treated. So, for instance, different people and different disorders have different types of seizures, but today we're just going to talk about epilepsy. So, again, epilepsy is a neurological disorder marked by sudden recurrent episodes of sensory disturbance and loss of consciousness. I myself have a seizure disorder. I have a form of epilepsy, which led me to the use of cannabis oils and to learn to extract them for my own personal health and benefit. Because I myself have abnormal electrical cellular activity and input in my brain. So there's a whole different host of causes and reasons for that. Some of those are sensory input, some of those are emotional, but in the end, epilepsy and seizure disorders are physiological diseases that have profound symptoms and can be life-threatening. So the most severe and the most damaging form of a seizure disorder or epilepsy is the seizure itself. So the seizure is the deadly part of the epilepsy disorder. Cannabis oil goes to work directly on the seizures themselves, and as such, that's why it has such a profound and powerful effect. So what we have over the hundreds, if not thousands, of cases that we've treated now, what we see a lot of different types of cases and different types of neurological disorders, a lot of different styles of epilepsy, because every patient is a little bit different. But in all patients, we see CBD or cannabidiol as being part of what is so effective on the seizure itself. So again, epilepsy is a physiological disorder, and it's not something that can be actually cured. However, the seizure, which is the deadly part of the disorder and will cause the worsening, that can be controlled and or arrested permanently. And then in many cases, if it's in pediatrics, patients will grow out of the seizure or out of the epileptic condition. So there's a lot of information, so bear with me here. So CBD or cannabidiol is one of the chemicals in the cannabis oil molecule. CBD affects seizures directly and epilepsy by the re-stimulation of the endocannabinoid system and the rebalancing or resetting of electrolytic conductivity. Seizure patients have lost the ability for their intracellular communication to be functioning properly, and which causes, through sensory input, through all kinds of different imbalances in the physiology, it leads to seizures, etc. So some patients have grand mal seizures, some patients have seizures, atonic seizures at night. There's all different types of seizures and disorders, but CBD deals with the underlying cause, which will reset the autonomic and the central nervous system, oftentimes giving back the ability to process information, cellular information properly, and the seizures will go away. So CBD is very useful in the application of treating seizures. However, even though it's mass marketed to the public, it's only effective in a small number of cases. What we see is that THC in combination with CBD is actually what creates the entourage effect, and we're starting to see that THC in therapeutic amounts is absolutely necessary, as it is in my condition for controlling your seizures. I haven't had a seizure for 7 years. I've been free of pharmaceuticals. Many of our members and our patients have experienced similar results, and although it's different for everybody, what seems to be the case is that if you find the right balance between THC and CBD in any patient, you can arrest and deal with the underlying cause of the seizures and put the patient back on track. So CBD will address the seizure by rebalancing electrolytic conductivity and giving the patient back the ability to function normally, and the THC will help create the entourage effect, the slowing down of the system, the reduction of sensory input, and seems to give the patient the ability to process information and all of their sensory input normally, i.e. slowing them down, the seizures stop. So is THC safe for pediatrics? Is THC and CBD in combination something that you want to give to any patient? No, you certainly don't ever start with THC, but CBD and THC in combination seems to be what will get patients to arrest their epileptic condition. So online you see all over the place where we have CBD and hemp extract being sold and peddled to patients for both human and canine, but that will only work on a very, very small amount of the patient population. And again, there's 20 million people in the United States right now that have a form of epilepsy, and THC is going to be necessary to benefit most of them. There's a long and safe history of cannabis oil treatments going back to indigenous cultures. Cannabis oil therapies have been around for thousands of years. So, we're always talking about the big bad conversation of THC and, is it bad? Is it a habit-forming, dangerous drug? Which, THC will be sedative and it will alter the body. However, in the case of a patient that has a debilitating and life-threatening disorder, then we simply have to, use medicines that will repair the patient. And in most cases, it's not just going to be CBD, but it's going to be CBD and THC alone. So can we prevent seizures or can we prevent epilepsy? What we want to do is we want to get on top of the seizure condition by the use of, through the use of CBD and low doses of THC. If you stay on top of it, if you keep sensory input slightly slowed, and if you keep the body balanced, right, calm and balanced, then you can gradually work the patient back into a normal cognitive life. I should also say that if cannabis oil is going to work for any epileptic patient, it's going to work very quickly. Usually in the first 72 hours, if it's going to work for you, you'll experience profound, if not total, symptom relief. So, now, can epilepsy be cured? Unfortunately, no. It is a genetic condition, and it is not something that, as it's physiological, it's not something that seems to be that we can reverse entirely. It's congenital. So it's not something that you can reverse. You can only control its symptoms and hope that the body or the patient will grow out of the condition altogether. So answer some of your questions. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But otherwise, are there any questions up there? This is our last informal live, everybody. Okay. Cool. So with that, we'll bid you good evening, and thank you very much. Happy February, happy Valentine's Day from King Harvest, and we wish you guys happy healing.